Welcome, dear readers, to Cover My Ass, where baffling books are reviewed, but not read, by yours truly. My name is Khaki.
And I'm Kay, and remember, we only judge a book by its cover.
And this week's book is
Challengers of the Unknown by Ron Goulart.
Did you like it?
Of course I like it. I like all the books we review.
Why else would you stock these books in your library?
There is such a thing to be said for having a complete library, just like having a well-stocked bar.
We're within eyeshot of your bar at this moment.
Much smaller than my library, as you can tell.
According to some definitions, your library is infinitesimally small or vast, depending on your perspective on the universe. But does your bar contain anything that you absolutely hate?
There are things in there that I don't really drink.
That you would never drink?
Oh, no, not at all. But then again, there's no many books that I would never read.
Except the section on 17th century Norwegian romances.
Well, yes, but that's only when I can't find my filter mask.
That's probably because the bears have been added again.
Oh, they've been nicking stuff once more?
I assume so. Like at this point, anytime that I displace my glasses, I assume that one of these wicked burglar bears has gone and nicked it, or somehow tricked me out of my eyes.
Are you sure it's not raccoons?
You know,
that seems to make a lot more sense than actual bears.
I mean, the pro or anti-bear suits that I built, and I'm just catching all the readers at home up on the unnecessary lore that sprung about this literary podcast, but I did build some very big pro or anti-bear suits
just imagine,
were nicked.
Four raccoons in an anti-bear suit.
Help me out here. Is that better or worse than a bear in a pro or anti-bear suit?
I'd like to think that raccoons are a little bit more friendly as long as you keep them fed. So in the suit, there might not be much of a difference, but out of the suit, I think the raccoons would be much better. I mean, it's like the old question: would you rather fight one horse-sized duck? No, it's the other way around. 100 duck-sized horses, or one horse-sized duck, or something. Yes, that's the one. You never heard that one?
Although, I haven't seen a duck around here in ages, not since the incident, so I wouldn't even know what size to compare them to.
Oh, they haven't changed much since you were outside, so.
Oh, but who knows how long that's been? Time and space isn't...
Even on geological timescale, ducks don't change very much in size.
I've been to museums where they've shown dinosaurs, and I've met velociraptors, and they are very different from what I saw in the museum, which of course probably means that the museum got it wrong.
I'm pretty sure that they were mostly feathery anyway.
I thought it was...
That's slowly moving into accepted doctrine now.
So,
on the other hand, some people would say they're just making it up. Let's put our faith in science,
and not in those kooky uncles that we have.
Not having one of those. My opinion is as good as your ignorance, or something like that.
Again. I just love these equivalencies of yours, because they're not false equivalences. They are genuine. Yes, your opinion is as good as my ignorance. But that sort of ties into the theme of this week's book, because we're dealing with the unknowable, the unknown, the
Challenges of the Unknown
by Ron Goulart.
Ron Goulart, yes. The down-on-their-luck cast of a supernatural reality TV show in the doldrums of syndication finally encounter a true mystery in the swamps of Florida and struggle against plummeting ratings and their own inadequacies to face. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Reality?
Sorry, I thought that was... Sorry, I took that at face value. It says ... at the end. I thought it was a Donald Trump tweet and it wasn't something else on the other side.
Oh, no. This is these were actual ellipses.
Right.
Or ellipsis.
Ellipsi. No, I don't think we're going anywhere. But
I think that we'll just drizzle onto the cutting room
I'm sorry,
floor.
my keeming is terrible anyway, so...
You're what? Oh. Okay. That is a great verbal visual joke, and let's see how many of our readers at home got that. My keeming is terrible. Write to us on covermyasscast@gmail.com if you got that, because good lord.
Anyway, this week's book.
Yes. So I was immediately captivated by this cover because there is so much going on. So speaking of typography, I love the title imprint on this cover, which, by the way, if you look down at your podcasting device, you should be seeing the cover of today's book. And if not, you can check the show notes for an image or a link. Even if that doesn't help, you can always visit covermyasscast.com, where all the episodes are numbered. And if you're listening to this in the week that it comes out, just look on our Twitter, and we posted it there. Whew, this pre-ramble gets longer every time.
Yes, it's a lovely typographical thing with all the letters zapping out of the background, and
a lovely typographical thing. That's how I put it.
And I only just noticed the fact that there's a little hourglass in the O of the unknown. But yes, we have our heroes, which are facing down what looks like the swamp thing. The thing, it came from the swamp, I believe. Is what
Oh,
it's,
yes.
It reminded me of something, and it turns out I was right.
Well, it reminded me of something too, and we'll just see
Maybe
if
we
both
were
of us
both
were
right.
right. Well, how fun that would be. But yes, our heroes are all there, dressed in red and yellow spandex with white holster belts on their hips. I noticed, just as my keying is terrible upsets me, and the recent release of a font called Helvetica with 2 L's, which is the Helvetica font, but just with fucked up kerning, and it's just utterly atrocious. I noticed immediately that the yellow stripe down the front of the spandex jumpsuit is off center, and it's
I'm
not
pretty sure that's intentional. That's like
Jason,
it makes it look dynamic.
Yes, dynamic is what people with very little taste say they want when they hire us designers.
Yeah, make it pop.
Oh yeah, we need just a little bit more oomph.
We need some GIFs on there.
Yes, yes. Add some more memes.
Under construction.
Oh, the blinking tag on HTML and the rotating, the gifs of burning skulls rotating.
That's the one. And the little torches and the little under construction signs with orange lights flashing.
Yeah, and a black and purple repeating tile background and MIDI playing in the background. Welcome to Cover My Ass, where we recite the still extant Space Jam website at you.
I mean, it's pretty much GeoCities, like which...
Rest in peace.
That's ancient history. And we're not doing an internet history podcast here. We're doing a literary review podcast here.
Yes, and this week's baffling book, Challenges of the Unknown, we just described our heroes who find themselves in the
swamps of Florida.
In the swamps of Florida, yeah. It's a set of 5, mostly gentlemen. There is one blonde woman. They are fit men and women here of television age, I will say.
So, yes.
Yeah. Challenge of the Unknown, of course, a supernatural television show that had been around for a while. That was known for shark jumping.
Quite literally.
I believe that was even their pilot episode, so they really set a pretty
too
high bar
one.
for themselves,
Okay.
because the shark can jump, so you want to have some clearance.
Yes. I mean, it's not dolphins. I've seen sharks kind of jump, but they never do that whole dolphin like 10 feet out.
Oh, yeah, the somersault and backflip. Oh, dolphins are so clever. This phrase, jumping the shark, comes, of course, from Happy Days.
Yes.
Where Arthur Herbert Fonzarelli
At one point jumps a motorcycle over a shark tank.
water skis.
Water skis?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought
Water skis. Because the actor Henry Winkler was an avid water skier, and he wanted to show it off.
Yeah, it's considered that after that the show went downhill, and
Yeah, well, it did last another 7 seasons, but, those were different days.
Yes.
Those were happier days in some ways, one might say.
maybe for the people who are lining their pockets on the production of it, but I don't think we ever heard much of him. I mean, he made the
Winkler
occasion.
was in Scream.
He made the odd appearance here and there, yeah, with a bit of a tongue-in-cheek reference to his past glory as Fonzarelli.
Yeah,
Fonz.
Fonzie,
Yes.
yeah. Which is a fate that I'm sure our heroes would love to embrace, because when we find them, they are not doing well, but they are still totally dependent on this moribund television program.
The network won't let them go. They're not financially independent. They squandered their initial earnings in from the show, and they're kind of shackled with long-term contracts, reduced to traveling the country in their mysterious machine to go from one...
I knew this would remind one of us of something. Yes, their mysterious machine, a vehicle that they all shared. They pooled the last of their savings into it in order to try and rejuvenate their show by touring the country with this vehicle. What sort of a vehicle was it again? Mysterious machine?
You could think it was a tour bus.
I mean, it had 3 decks.
Well, it's a very big tour bus. The book says it's the Swamp of Florida, but what the blurb of the book neglects to mention is that the Swamp of Florida is actually a planetary-sized amusement park.
Yeah, that took me by surprise.
Yeah, well,
I think that's maybe true for a lot of people who bought this book.
Yes.
So do we think that their vehicle, that the mysterious machine, is a spacecraft?
It's a very mysterious machine.
Doesn't Florida just mean like flowery or
Florida?
Yeah, with flowers in it.
Could be. I don't know.
Because I know that there's a valley in Spain, I want to say, called it's a power station in a lovely little sunlit glade, where the sides of the valley are coated with mirrors on servos, and the center of the valley has a giant column of water with a turbine on top.
Is that called Florida or something?
That's La Florida.
Okay. They find themselves touring various venues where they can try to live off their little bit of fame. People are going like, oh, there they are. In some towns, they get like massive crowds showing up, which are like enthusiastic, and they're like, oh, apparently they still like us here. And in other towns, there's like 3 people and a donkey's head who are just like, little flag, and then there's more people on the show than people watching it, which is a sad thing.
They do have the advantage that genre television sometimes produces rabid fan bases. As you mentioned, some of these towns that they visit, they have ticker tape parades because they are so honored to be able to receive the challengers of the unknown in our little town. We're all such fans.
Oh, have you been to the sawmill, or have you been to the abandoned launch pad?
Have you seen the Jersey Devil of Zikarax 9, or the Mothman of Ampulon Beta?
And half of them have already been just debunked by other people.
Yeah, but maybe the challengers of the unknown will find it. But for a while, they tried to live more off the fame that they had incurred in the past than the success that they had.
Signing books and posters and stuff like that, and especially Wilma Dinkley, the socialite of the group, getting themselves invited to little soirees and everything.
Yes. Give me just a second here, readers at home, because I actually didn't fully click into where this was going previously, but I do now. I'm back on board. Yes, Wilma Dinkley. She's always the headliner whenever they get asked to a convention, which hasn't happened that much anymore since a debacle where Challenger Con, Challenge Con, and Challengers Con were on the same planet at the same day, and they went to all the wrong ones. And
the other ones were about the space shuttle.
Yes, one of them was to celebrate the athletic accomplishments of people living with disabilities.
Yeah.
One of them was a memorial for the Challenger shuttle disaster, still held in vigil, along with many other tragedies in space travel, by the many planets that have been colonized in the meantime. And Challengers Con was the one that they should have gone to, because that's one for the Challengers of the Unknown. And then the next year they went to Unknown Con, which was a complete disaster.
Because nobody heard of it.
Nobody here but us chickens. So they kind of dumped the con circle. But yeah, Wilma Dinkley, the socialite, is doing sort of okay, isn't she?
When they find out that the Unknown Con is nobody shows up, they meet up with the reporter there, who is one of the only few other people who shows up to just basically interview the old heroes, and he's bummed out that there's nobody here. But he also gets this way I get to spend a lot more time with them.
Yeah, you get a lot of access.
Yeah, maybe I
get an exclusive. Hell yeah, get the scoop.
Talks them into basically allowing him to tag along with a bit and see if we can maybe we can do a little bit of old-fashioned challenging the unknown and exploring the...
He's got little stars in his eyes there, doesn't he?
Also dollar signs.
Don't we all? He sort of reminded me of Lucky Star, if you remember from... what do we call that episode? Hot Shot Rocket Jockeys.
Yes, it was the Pirates of the Asteroids.
Yes, that's right. Episode... Oh, it's going to be in the 20s. I'm going to roll the dice and say it.
So it's... What is it, my little girl? Yeah. Hello, girl. Have you caught yourself a raccoon? I think she'd spot a raccoon and she'd be like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
She's even fatter than I am.
Oh, that's mean. That's so mean. But along with this journalist, who just keeps getting referred to as the reporter, comes an opportunity that they've been waiting for a while, which is new sponsorship. They've been coasting mostly on their sponsorship with spandex. The sagging of their bodies in certain regions means that
we have the sidekick of the group, Torval Rogers, who's affectionately known by his friends as Flabby. He doesn't look too good in the spandex, so there's a bit of that.
No. But fortunately, physical fitness is not a requirement for sponsorship by the NRA, known in our universe as the National Rifle Association, but in this space world, it is known as the Nebula...
The Nebulous Researchers Association.
Armaments. Okay.
Let's not go with that.
Put a pin in that and just move on. We should really leave the writing to the writers, I think, Kay. We're just no good at it. We should just factually report, just as the reporter does, what happens in front of us. So he spends most of his time interviewing them and asking them about past glories, about the...
Yes, I liked how the writer did these little... what are they called again? The little... the one-on-ones, the little confessionals. With the camera, where you get a few paragraphs where it's the main character sitting there kind of talking to the camera, with occasionally prompted by the reporter to keep talking, mostly about how things went in the past and how the show was much better received back then, and the amounts of fan mail that they got, and how some of it was really bullshit, and how they knew that it was the producer sitting there ringing bells and rattling doors and doing whatever, and it's especially Flabby had issues with that, because he was always the one who's going oh, I can feel
Sploinks, he said. That was his...
that's the one.
Was it literally?
Brett Jones Towns the skeptic was much more of a much easier. I mean, you have these roles in these shows, and they always pick them out for this. Like, you have the believer, and you've got the skeptic, and like
you've got to have that sort of tension between your leads.
Yes,
that they each are avatars for a certain emotion that you want the viewers to feel at a given moment.
And they can identify with, and they can go like, oh, I knew that was fake, and I like, oh, I tinker a little bit with PKE meters, and
yeah, but you can always have Flabby coming back in with just a little bit more. But are you sure it was just Old Man Smithers, our producer? What a weird name. Like, so. It is at this time when they're finally approaching their target, the swamp world of Florida.
Floridia.
And they kind of... They have to get their game faces on, which is where they induce him into their sort of pre-recording ritual. I mean, it's something that they used to share with the camera crew. Now it's just them and some GoPros and drones. So they have to make do on their own. But since he's the only one there who can hold a camera other than them, and he's very welcome, they introduce him into something that they learned the first time that they went to Florida, Earth-based Florida, where they investigated some of the legends of the Seminole native peoples there, and they were introduced.
The mosquitoes?
No, they've got other myths. They've got
Cubans.
Hachochopka. I think that's what it's called. It's like a stinky wolf deer, and you have like owl witches who look like normal Seminole.
I never heard of those. I mean, I thought that the Native Americans were clever enough to stay out of Florida.
What?
I mean, it's not a really great place. It's got alligators and snakes and cougars.
Lots of places have alligators and snakes and cougars, and you still have people there in
the swamp.
We are from the Netherlands. Well, we have no right to tell anyone you can't live in a swamp.
I didn't get here until after the swamp had been drained, and this is not Washington.
Our ancestors did. Our ancestors
were... And I applaud them for it, and I thank them for it. But it doesn't mean that I would have wanted to do it.
No, of course. We wouldn't. The Romans didn't. We descend from people who lived in a place that the Romans didn't want.
Fair enough.
How many corners of Europe can make that particular claim?
There's like Utrecht, Ultrajectum.
It's the end of the
road. End of the road, like that.
This far and no further.
Yes, any further than this, bugger that.
But our challenges of the unknown go a little bit further. So they induct the reporter into the ritual that they learned from the Seminoles, which is known as black drink. Now, I was confused by this when I read it, and obviously I try not to do too much research, but I looked into it a little bit. And black drink is a name given to actually a variety of like ceremonial beverages. They usually have emetics.
Oh, yes.
So it's often part of purification. But in this case, it's ascribed. Well, in this case, it's ascribed so many psychotropic effects, which the traditional things that are called black drink are not really known for.
Yeah.
That also. I think maybe they were drinking purple drank.
Purple drank?
Popular pastime.
Purple drank.
among certain music scenes, I understand. So
I can't say I've heard of it before, but
do
tell.
Again, I had to do a little bit of research. Purple drank is the name given to a concoction of certain cough syrups that contain components that...
DXM.
Maybe we should mention on an internet radio program in a concentrated form, and then mixed with Sprite, and then usually with a hard candy like a Jolly Rancher dissolved in there,
it purple,
and for sweetness. And so you'd have just a cup of purple drank, and you'd chug it, and you'd go like the challengers of the unknown. Things got awful spacey. It was like reading Hunter S. Thompson there for a while.
Well, it's a good read.
I've actually never read Hunter S. Thompson. I've seen some of the films, though, obviously.
I've definitely read... what's it?
Fear and Loathing.
No, the other one.
The Diaries. The
Rum Diaries.
Rum Diaries.
That's not the one ours. It's the motorcycle gang one, which is called...
And we call ourselves librarians. Yes. How dare we?
My memory's terrible.
As they descend into a spiraling, fragmented haze of delirious madness together with the reporter, our challengers of the unknown approach the dwelling of the Swamp Squatch.
Yes.
Now, before you think that I'm making that up, dear readers at home, that is the name for an actual cryptid, also known as the skunk ape. Also a very stinky one, similar to... Oh, I just said it. Hachkochapko. I think that's...
yes, the deer thing.
Yes, the stinky wolf deer. Like, all of them are it's really smelly down there in the swamps of Florida.
Do that.
These cryptids, they're coming because the smell becomes so bad.
Oh, okay. The thing that actually bothered me more, I was in Florida a long, long time ago, it was the ginormous spiders.
Oh, that sounds fun.
You're walking across these lovely little wooden walkways that they have over the swamp, and then suddenly there's like this enormous spider web with like literally hand-sized spiders sitting in them. Like, hi.
Hi.
And sometimes they're over the
Hello,
walkway.
we are all the spiders.
Hello, love.
I kind of like to think that
Occasionally
these
small
really
children
polite
go
voices.
missing, and you just kind of expect them to be like in one of those webs,
And not the gators or just playing.
No,
hopefully, just playing among the.
My money's on the spiders.
On the spider. It's not Australia. There's not a lot of spiders that are totally deadly outside of Australia. That's where God put them all.
Australia has the second deadliest spider in the world.
And the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, something like that. It's not just the spiders. It's also with the jellyfish and with the snakes and everything. Australia doesn't have the most venomous one of each of those, but it has the second most venomous of every one of them.
And the rest of the top 10 usually as well.
Yes. The number ones are spread out all over the world. The number twos are all in Australia.
What a fantastic collection. Alas, our intrepid heroes did not go to space Australia. They went to space Florida. No. Off they go to find the swamp squatch, the skunk ape of Florida, plunging waist deep into the fetid swamp. Spandex is not exactly outdoors wear.
No, it's not very suitable. I mean, the geek of the squad, Rooby, who tries to like use his drones and other camera equipment.
Yes. Oh yeah, he has all these
zone the
gadgets.
areas, yes.
You know what? I am giggling. I actually didn't get that one.
Oh.
Rooby who? Which one's that?
Rooby who?
Oh, Kay. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. Yes, of course.
He's Danish.
Yeah. And he's great. Let's make no mistake.
He's also the one who flies the mystery machine. The mysterious machine.
Spinkies, as I think Welma would say.
Yes, that's the one.
Future Khaki is going to do a very quick Google to figure out whether spinkies is actually a bad word. and if it's not, then you'll just have this. You'll just see how the sausage is made sometimes. Otherwise, you'll never.
Urban Dictionary to the rescue.
Speaking of to the rescue, this is where they find the swamp squatch.
Yes.
Who is indeed in need of rescuing.
Pops out of the swamp.
Pops out of the swamp. Oh, thank God you're here.
Brett is immediately like, oh, it's another guy in a suit.
Yes, indeed I am. It's a rather well-cut suit.
Yes.
Obviously, it's covered in swamp juice.
And Flabby is going, I can feel emotions.
Yeah, I'm sure the purple drank helped there.
Well, yes, I mean, he had two helping, so I would think so.
And Rooby Who just says,
I'm getting like a reading
Fo!
Ruh-roh.
Ruh-roh is the actual thing that Scooby-Doo says,
yes.
Kay. Get it together. We really should leave the writing to the writers and just focus on what we do best.
Well, they have time for it. That's the thing. We have to make it up on the spot.
And so they're rather confused because the swamp squatch is actually delighted that they're finally here, is in need of their help. I mean, they don't quite know what to do because they do have this brand new sponsorship with the NRA, and they do have an obligation to not just spot, but also kill, or at the very least shoot, the swamp squatch.
Yes.
Yeah, and so we see Brett here with his weapon drawn, and Welma looking a little bit. I mean, she's tripping balls. Let's just be fair. I mean, they're all on the cover looking in different directions. They're all completely tripping.
Off the rocker they are. I mean, that's how those episodes were made, you know? It's like just the camera crew following them around and like that we'll cut it together in post and like try to make some sort of coherent narrative out of it. And
because as long as everybody is equally inebriated in the production crew, then probably just something will come out that's actually
good. I mean, it's like reality TV. It's like it's always good if there's a little bit of shouting at each other and like fist fights almost breaking out.
And throwing a chair.
Yeah, a lot of that happened between Flabby and Brett most of the time.
They were constantly at each other's throats.
Oh, I mean, they're the polar opposites in the team.
In some ways, I would consider Flabby and Rooby Who to be opposites as well, but that's very much a case of like opposites attract. They really complement each other.
And with Brett, it's much more like
he's mostly just trying to impress Welma, is it?
No. He's into the historian of the group. That's Gaffney.
Yes, he's trying to Impress Gaffner, the historian.
Yeah, she's the one who knows the history of all the places that they're going to. And yes, I know I messed Welma and Gaffney up, but yeah.
No, I think you got it. Right. I think that's very progressive of you, and I celebrate it. I mean, people can be whoever they want, and just because Welma is the one with the glasses and the clumsy affect, she can still be the socialite. And just because
totally.
Gaffney is the pretty one and the blonde in sex bomb in front. I mean, she has a passion for history. Who's to say what anyone can be? Swamp Squatch is rather perplexed that everyone's milling about confusedly and waving the gun around. And heroes are very fortunate that it doesn't occur to him that Brett is trying to shoot him. He thinks that they're there to help because the Swamp Squatch himself is a fan of the show, and he needs their help in hunting down his, I won't say nemesis. It's a ferocious predator that stalks every living creature in the swamps of Florida. They're the stuff of nightmares that haunts all of their dreams. Who is responsible for so many of the disasters that befall the many diverse creatures that live in the swamp. He hopes that they're there to help him hunt down Florida Man.
Yeah.
That most mythical of cryptids,
yes,
that found only in Florida, who is responsible for the most absurd crimes imaginable. The newspapers are full of
it, even well beyond the planet Florida, even in real life Florida.
Everywhere they named Florida, it turns out has their own version of a Florida Man. But the sheer mayhem caused by this elusive being is crippling for any civilization that is benighted by it.
First, it turns out into a weird little message in the local tabloids, and it's like Florida Man spotted, and everybody goes, you always hear bloody stories about Florida Man, and then it's like another one, and then it gets picked up in major news item, and there's snippets of it on the TV, and then before you know it, you're completely swamped by them. Florida Men all over the place. Yes.
Yeah, I see what you did there. And still, I mean, a lot of people dismiss it, it can't possibly be true. They call it what is it in English? In Dutch, the word is a broodje aap, a monkey sandwich.
Oh, yes.
For just some horseshit.
Fake news.
But you can fill entire newspapers just with the exploits of Florida Man, so I can totally understand why the sort of swamp thing looking inhabitants of Floridia want some help in getting rid of them. And who better to find this
than the challengers of the unknown.
Yeah.
Especially Brett with his ray gun.
Yeah, standard issue NRA ray gun.
The Swamp Squatch really tries to get them into the shoot first, ask questions later mode, which is really not their thing.
It also doesn't really work very well in a swamp.
No, especially with Flabby walking around going I can sense emotions over there.
Yes, that's the thing that he does. That's right. He puts his fingers to his temple and then goes and then he senses emotions, usually his own.
Usually involves
fear.
lunch.
Fear or lunch, yes, that's right.
There's lots of investigation that needs to be done in the local Waffle Houses.
Where they investigate Rooby snacks.
Yes.
I guess.
Why not?
Which I think is probably just magic brownies.
Yes.
I mean, what else do you call it? Just magic brownies, right?
Magic
muffins.
Hash brownies, but...
Hash browns is something else.
No, hash brownies. Hash browns and hash
you.
brownies. There's a significant difference between the two.
We're communicating very well. We're very good friends. You can tell.
Yes.
Now, two Swamp Squatches' great disappointment, but fulfilling our expectations for this crew, considering that they do continue to quaff purple drank by the thermos.
Yeah, they just have their little hip flasks and they keep going whoa, I think I'm going to need a little bit more purple drank here.
Yes, I mean, spoiler alert.
It does turn out that Florida Man is just old white guys fucking things up to get rich, which is kind of much the plot point of all of these challengers of the unknown.
Yes, that's right. and none more so than Old Man Smithers, their executive producer, whom we are sure is
the one trying to get rich off this show,
is wringing his yellow-clawed, knobbly hands behind the scenes as he live streams all of this footage to the fans across the galaxy.
So it turns out that the Swamp Squatch on the front of the cover is not actually the one in the mask.
So the real mask is the friends we made along the way. No, I'm misdoing that.
The real mask is the report.
The real friends are the masks we wore while hunting. No, that's not it either. Well,
the real mask is the producer that is feeding you your meager paycheck.
But all is not lost.
But the reporter does get his expose about this beloved series.
And the series itself is largely rejuvenated. The whole concept of jumping the shark, it doesn't just mean a deteriorating in quality, but it also refers specifically to like publicity stunts designed to reinvigorate a series flagging interest by often utterly violating the format for which it was known, thus alienating their audience even worse. But in this case, it can also mean reinventing oneself, like the fact that they actually allied themselves with what would normally be their target, makes the challengers of the unknown appeal to an entirely new generation of enlightened young fans.
And make a decision to try and do more of the righting wrongs, and rather than trying to find the mystique and the hidden and the unknown, and just like trying to find the known problems they can work on to
that
improve
you can
and
deal
make.
With.
Yes.
Challenge the unknown until it reveals itself. Challenge the idea that things are unknowable. Right. And there is, of course, the little coda at the end where, with their fame reinstated, finally, like actually finding their way to Challengers Con, which is now a huge fan convention where they are heralded as heroes. Unfortunately, scheduled in conflict with a Firefly fan convention leading to the Browncoat riots of 2010. A very regrettable affair where we see, as the flames rise over two utterly burnt out conventions whose fans are beating each other's skulls in.
The burnt soil and the burnt sea.
Again, what? None of your... What?
Burn the land, burn the sea, you can't take the sky from me.
Oh my god! Oh my god, you are so far ahead of me! We see one man walking away from all this chaos with a wry little smile. It is the reporter who has instigated this chaos, and the reporter, of course, is Florida Man.
And again, it is old white men fucking things up to get rich. This is the moral of the story.
Ron Goulart is a very insightful writer. Yes. We really must find more of. So, the perennial question that we ask each other every single episode without exception, did you like it?
Oh, yes, I loved it.
Me too.
It was uplifting, it was exciting.
I like that it dealt with, it's described as the doldrums of syndication, but like we reached those kind of plateaus and sort of stretched out nadirs of our lives where we persevere and we're never quite sure whether we're right to do so, and then sometimes we're rewarded for our perseverance. So how are we going to rate this book?
Florida
or the unknown?
And the unknown. I mean, rating something out of the unknown is even going to be harder than rating it out of Florida. I mean, how many keys?
How many keys in Florida? No, that's right.
How many keys are there?
That's right. How many oranges?
Well,
maybe
we can rate it out of.
Oh my goodness!
Reporters.
Look,
rate it out of 5.
There's 5 of
swamps.
them.
Yes.
There's 5 of them.
Yes.
Out of 5. How hard can that be?
Oh, well, quite. Well, I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, I'd give it a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
Yeah.
That seems entirely fair.
I enjoyed it.
And 4 out of 5 is also appropriate, since only 4 out of the 5 people on the cover are the Challengers of the Unknown, and the one that they adopted turns out to be their nemesis, Florida Man. So, yeah, I think we leave Florida Man out of this.
I can live with that.
We're good at this. This is a great show that we're doing.
Yes,
great podcast. So what do we have in store for our readers next week?
Next week's book is Rin Berry's famous thought piece, Hitler, neither vegetarian nor animal lover.
And that definitely covers it. Thank you for joining us at Cover My Ass, where baffling books are reviewed but not read by yours truly's. My name is Khaki.
And I'm Kay. And remember, we only judge a book by its cover.
Oh, maybe now is the time that we should mention the hourglass on the front.
Oh.
Remember how we were going to come back around to that?
Retroactively make the time travel episode?
I mean, I was going to say it's a bit late, but that kind of defies the concept of time travel.
What do we want? Time travel. When do we want it? Doesn't matter.